So today I will be taking a look at and reviewing the NECA Elder, the Golden Angel Ultimate Edition Predator. So now for the box. So as you can see, there is a very cool image of the Predator. Looks to be a comic image to me, and then says Predator up there and Elder, the Golden Angel Ultimate Edition. And since this is an Ultimate Edition, it also has NECA's Windows style box. So in here you could see the figure displayed with all his accessories, and you see a very cool image or promotion shot of the Golden Angel. And then under is just some warnings and just some warnings barcode and the people who made the figure or worked on it anyway. And then up here it has the same image from the front, same thing, Predator, Elder, the old Golden Angel Ultimate Edition, and another warning. On one side is a comic image of the figure, plus says down there NECA Real Toys, and the same thing on the front and on the top. And then on the other side, it's more comic images behind Predator, NECA Real Toys. On the back is a bunch of images of promotion shots of the figure and a comic style way of showing the the accessories and whatnot. And then over there says Predator, the Elder, the Golden Angel. So that is it for this figure's box. Now let's take a look at the actual figure. So this is Golden Angel right out of the box, and honestly, this figure is beautiful, and I am not joking about that. This figure is very beautiful. The very bright yellow paint scheme looks fantastic on the figure. But I do have to say, since this was the second version, I think, of the figure since it got popular, NECA had to reissue or re-release it. The paint is not as good as the original, unfortunately, I have to say. I would know this because I watched a lot of reviews, and I sort of match the quality of how it looks and whatnot, and this does not at all seem very similar in any way to the figure that I saw in those reviews. Like, yes, it is the same figure, but some of them, the paint and even the articulation seems a bit off. But anyway, enough about that. So as I was saying, it's a very beautiful figure. I love the yellow paint scheme he has and the copper armor to pair with it. It's a very vibrant color that, even though I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest, but I will still admit, it is beautiful. I prefer a much darker scheme to my figures, or in general, like even when it comes to paint and stuff. That's why I rarely find very bright pieces to look very good to me. But this one is an exception. I also like the really cool tiger stripes he has on. Is it on both sides? We can't really tell because of that, but yeah. So I really like the paint of this guy, the cool paint stripes, the yellow polka dots he has here and there, and his bone pieces are not anything special. They're mostly in fact flat gray with just a bit of wash, like a sort of color wash over them to make them look somewhat real, but yeah, they don't really look like bones to me. I think I put this thing upside down. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I also really like the buckle here. It's not really a buckle, it's more of a belt. It's just a leather strap all the way around, and yeah, it's a really beautiful paint scheme. And the back is, yeah, most of the yellow would disappear once you look at the back. Now it's mostly a green, dark green, tropical type green color, and also has and this is also the holster for the sword. Later in the accessories, I'll show you how to use that. There's also a strap there. Looks very cool, and the loincloth, it's mostly a matte brown sort of look. It looks a bit matte brown, but I promise there's some sort of detail on it. I can't really tell. There's like a greenish wash over it. And yeah, the copper armor as well, and I appreciate, it's not really copper, it's more of a golden. The copper is mostly in the helmet, but it looks a bit copper goldish. Yeah, it has a very copper goldish type color. It seems to be very dirty gold to me. That's a bit copperish. The helmet is definitely copper though, copper coloring, but the rest of it seems to be a very dirty gold or a very toned down copper. It looks more gold to me because of the sheath here, which looks more gold than copper, to be honest. And it also helps. His name is literally the Golden Angel. And yeah, there's a bit of looseness here. I have no idea how that happened. It's a bit loose there. But yeah, it's a very beautiful and well painted figure. Honestly, I'm not saying it probably, honest, it doesn't really compete much with the AVP ones I have, but darn it, is it close there. Yeah. So yeah, that is it for the actual figure itself. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he has red eyes, like bloodshot red eyes. I really want to know how to make that color. But so yeah, that is going to be it for the actual figure itself. Now we're going to be taking a look at the accessories. So this is accessories. He has a bunch of them, a lot more than the ones I'm used to, because since I've been collecting mostly the AVP Predators, which for those who do know, they don't come with as much. Like, they don't have any alternate heads. A few, like 2 of them have alternate hands, and some of them don't even come with like, they come with a bit less to look over. So firstly, I'm gonna go with this head. Now this is probably my favorite head, but yeah. Now this is gold. So yeah, it's a very nice gold, a bit dirty gold, with the black wash over it to be weathered, with also the same exact blood red eyes that comes with the first head. And as you can see, you could still see some of the green undertones on the figure, and his dreadlocks, they're all the little locks on the head are made of gold, or are gold colored. And then for the unmasked head, I'm not really too much of a fan of this, but most complaints I've heard of old figures from NECA is that the eyes do not look straight ahead. This time they do. So as you can see, it's a very bright main yellow, which is a bit different actually compared to the masked heads. The masked heads are mostly lime green. This guy is yellow, and also and probably the most detailed out of all the heads. Just not the best in design, I have to say. There's a bunch of dots all over it, and it's a very bright and interesting pattern, much like the Dilophosaurus from the Jurassic Park movies. And we already took a look at the head, and all the dreadlocks, by the way, are the same. They're just same exact design and gold. And next, for the plasma caster, very basic Ultimate Edition plasma caster, very similar to the, what do you call him? Darn, what's his name again? He's very similar to the Jungle Hunter. Yeah, but this is just a repaint, a mud-colored repaint. Still more of a mud brownish colored repaint to me, or dirty gold, as I would say it. But yeah, there's some silver bits here and there, and here as well. Pretty cool, but just a repaint. Up next is the flintlock, and this thing I kind of disappointed with, to be honest, because I looked at an old review of this guy, probably a review from 5-6 years ago, or 4 years ago, somewhere between 4 to 6 years ago. Basically, this thing's supposed to be gold, but mine is silver. I do know for a fact this thing is authentic because I got it from a shop that sells authentic figures. I would know, and I did hear there was a reissue, but I would want to know why NECA, when they did the reissue, just gave us the silver flintlock. So yeah, that is a bit disappointing, but still a really cool flintlock, very nicely sculpted. Not sure if it's accurate. I've never seen a flintlock in person. I'm not even sure what this gun is called. I'm pretty sure I just heard it somewhere that it's called the flintlock. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do not think this thing's a flintlock. But yeah, it's a very cool gun, very old school, very classy gun, I should say. And then up here is probably my favorite of the accessories, the sword. Now, this thing is a very nicely sculpted piece. I like the sort of razor edges here, and also on the grip, the sort of circles surrounding the grip. It looks really cool. Also a little dot red there. Cool detail. They're on both sides. Yeah, I also like the very black weathering all throughout. It makes it look very cool. I don't know why. And then for the actual blade itself, which is very similar to a traditional samurai, not really samurai, more of a traditional straight edge blade. And yeah, it's just silver with a bit of a black wash over it. And then the 2 discs are also made of copper. One of them is sort of extended to shoot or to throw already, while this is the one that's meant to go on the hips. So yeah, they're just both basic in color. They're just golden, or yeah, they're just gold with some. They look gold on the camera, but in person they look more copperish with a black wash throughout it. I also do like the sculpt on them. They're really cool looking. Look a lot better than the Ninja Star ones we got from the AVPs. So yeah, and he comes with two sets of hands. This is not the first, this is technically the second pair. He has very greenish hands, and I'm not a fan of the way they look. They look a little too Hulk-like for me, like the color on them. They don't look very limeish green, they look a little too green for my liking, if that makes any sense. But yeah, but at least you could still see some of the yellow paint that I do prefer much more on the inside. Same thing with these hands. The most of the yellow is mostly inside, which I don't really like. I don't know why I don't like the green on him. Specifically on this. I didn't mind if they were much darker, kind of like this. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Don't know why. But so yeah, that is it for the accessories. Now I'll show you how to put them on him. So now to put on the accessories. So first, we're gonna do the head. I'm gonna use this head, my favorite out of the three. Like, I do prefer the design of the other one, but this one is the one that goes on the head because, yeah, you're just gonna find out in my next review why it's like that. That's how you plug it in. You just push, stays in there, and to pull, you just pull under the chin. Do be careful when you're swapping this head because there are these things are very sharp. So yeah, you just plug them in like that. And as for the hands, they just go like this. I am a bit wary when I'm doing this, especially, not really, only mostly on this hand because of the wrist blades. If I push, as you can see, it's sort of in the way. So what I would usually do is I would articulate them a bit. I would sort of push the hand like that, and I would push it in like that. Also, to pull it out, I just don't want to risk it. And be careful, it's a bit tight, so yeah. But once it's in there, you could freely move it. Same with the other hand. You just plug like that. And to take it out, you just simply pull. Do be careful not to break the pegs. So yeah, next is the sword. So first, I'm actually going to show you two different ways. I'm going to show you the first thing. First thing with the sword is I'm going to show you how to connect them. It's supposed to be on the same side, so as you can see, this is where the point is going, like that. That's where the razor jagged edges are supposed to be. So you just plug it in like that, and there, you've got a Predator sword. If this thing was only painted silver, I would give this to one of my AVP figures. So, and you take it out, you just pull. And you could also holster it in the back. I'm not really sure which side it's supposed to be, but I would put it like this, where the piece here of the handle is going this way, going to the right. And then I'll do this next. Next is the disc holder. You just slide it in there. It's just gonna fit. And then up next is this. This is the plasma caster. So with the Ultimate Editions, it's a bit different from the EVP ones. So first you plug here, the top, and then okay, I didn't show that properly. The top, there's a top peg there. There's a peg here. There's a peg hole there. There's a peg on the plasma caster. You just push, and then eventually you just slide. Yeah, you just sort of slide it and you push it up. And that is how you stick the plasma caster on. And then, last but not least, the gun. Where does this little flintlock go? You just put it here. You could sort of just pull and put. Okay, give me a moment. It's gonna take a while. But yeah, you just sort of have to make a hole in there, and you just push it in. There you go. Fits right there. So that is how you put on all the accessories. Now we're gonna move on to height comparisons. Alright, I just realized I made a mistake. So I initially said this is supposed to be facing to the right. No, I am dead wrong. It's supposed to be facing this way. Technically, you could still put it in like this. You saw me able to sheath it in, but as you can see, there's some resistance here. But if you put it like this, no resistance at all. And when you pull it out, it doesn't... It pulls out smoothly, unlike the other time. I learned that the hard way, because when I tried to pull it out for a pose, yeah, no. So yeah, that's just a little segment I have to throw in. So now for height comparisons. So he stands at 7, almost 8 inches. He stands at about 8 point, I don't know, 7 point something inches. He's very close to 8 inches, as you could see. But yeah, he is just a little past 7. So 2 figures I'm going to compare him to are, I'm just going to be back in a bit. So 2 other Predators that feature the Ultimate Edition body are Elder Greyback and Enforcer. Enforcer, I'm not sure it's because of this guy's hunching. He's hunched a bit, so he would more realistically be closer to 8. But Enforcer seems to be much bigger. Actually, I'm interested. Yeah, Enforcer is a little past 8. So this guy might actually just be 8 inches, so I'll just say 8 inches flat. This guy seems to be just a teensy bit past 8. So yeah. Now let's move those 2 out of the way. I'm also going to compare him to AVP figures. Because of course, I have to. And then the one I have near me is Youngblood. And as you can see, Youngblood is very clearly bigger than him. And for this one, I'm going to pause a bit because I need to sort of look for the figure. It's somewhere in this room I'm in, but just give me a moment. And then over here, I have a figure that I'm not sure many people have heard of. Ghost. He has a custom mask on, though. So yeah, this is the Ghost Predator. As you can see, he also uses a similar body. Oh god, why is it so blurry? So yeah, he uses a similar body to the Ultimate Editions. The only difference is he has peg holes for hands. Okay, why is the camera blurry? Okay, there. He has peg holes for hands instead. So he kind of uses the prototype Jungle Hunter body, if I do say so. So yeah, and he has a custom mask as well. Looks pretty cool next to each other, actually. So yeah, that would be it for height comparisons. Now we're gonna move on to articulation. Now, lastly, to articulation. So the head can't really look up. He could sort of look up, but that's sort of already forcing his head out of the peg. So see, you could look down decently, which does make sense since most Predator figures are indeed really massive. So they're just sort of looking down on every single figure, unless it's like Goro or Shao Kahn. And then the arms, this one is a bit hindered because of this, but you could just sort of move it up a bit more like that. It's a bit different to the, it's similar yet different to the shoulder armor or shoulder pads featured on the AVP figures though. So his hands, I'm not sure if mine are just tight or if that's really just how high he could reach it. Strangely, that's a lot less than even my AVP figures. I've seen even Elder go up higher, but yeah, mine's just probably tight. So yeah, and he also has a bicep swivel, gauntlet. Okay, no, first double jointed elbows first, and then he has a gauntlet swivel, and the blades also extend out. And as for the hands, it could go there, and sort of there. Can't really here. There, that's a better description of it. There, and it could go in circles. Now, as for the torso, I'm just going to go ahead for both. With both joints, he could look down. He could hunch forward a lot. That's really great. He could also hunch back a lot, which he puts some of my AVP figures to shame, since none of them can do that. And then, as for the legs, he could kick forward about that much. Really high. Okay, that's kick back only a bit. He could sort of kick to the side. I think even Scar could kick farther than this guy. So he could only kick about that much because of the amount of hindrance there is. And then thigh swivel and double jointed knees. Unlike the AVP, no upper knee swivel. And then as for the ankles, could go down about that much, go up about this much. It can barely move side to side. So yeah, that is it for articulation. So now, time to my final thoughts. Is the figure worth it? Actually, strangely, yeah. Despite its flaws, it's relatively cheap. It would usually go for around $20 to $50, which, yeah, that's quite a lot compared. That is not as much compared to some of the other figures I've reviewed. Looking at Serpent Hunter and what do you call the guy again? Youngblood. So yeah, these guys are certainly cheaper, and they're much easier to find. That's also another plus of these figures. This guy is relatively new, sort of, and you could probably find him a lot easier than you'd expect. It's a very easy figure to find. I found this guy. I found like a bunch of different shops selling him at my local, not local, but it's like a shop that it's like a place in here in the Philippines where that's known for selling like actual collectibles, so like NECA and whatnot. So yeah, that's where I got this guy, decent price. So yeah, is it worth the money? Yeah. Is he a cool figure? Sort of. I would say mine has a lot of issues, but it's not issues in the sense that they're literally breaking or hindering the figure. Issues in the sense that I don't like that. Like you can see, he's sort of standing tilted a bit. Like the knee, for some reason, is not straightened out. But yeah, he's a cool figure. I'd recommend getting him. So yeah, that would be it for my review of the Golden Angel. Probably my least enthusiastic review, since I sort of only reviewed this guy since I could do 2 reviews today. So yeah, that is it for my review of the Golden Angel.